We're back to the NGX here, our studio right here at the NGX in Marina. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 30 Minutes of Business, a business morning on Sunrise Daily. I'm Ini John Mekwa, and we're coming to you straight from our studio at the NGX premises in Marina, Lagos. But as usual, we'll start from the global business, that's oil. And we saw the Federal Reserve yesterday, their decision seems to be more of uncertainty, I would say. That seems to be the sentiment globally now. So we saw that the market too, oil market, just a little bit changed in early trade today. Markets are still watching out for President Donald Trump, his tariff threat. I wonder when that will come on. One was supposed to start February, and we know that tomorrow is the last day in January. So the tariffs on Mexico, Canada, they are the two largest suppliers of crude oil to the United States. We'll see how that will affect their relationship. But looking at the numbers now, we see an increase of 7 cents on Brent. That's about 0.1% to $76.71 a barrel, while WTI added 17 cents. A whole lot more seems to be happening with WTI because that's the crude for the United States. So 17 cents is about 0.2% to $72.79 a barrel. And they settled, that's U.S. crude as WTI, settled at its lowest price yesterday, Wednesday. On the demand front, we see crude oil stockpiles in the United States rose by 3.46 million barrels last week, roughly in line with analysts' estimates that it will rise to about 3.19 million barrels as winter storms that swept the country last week hit refinery utilization. Unfortunately, the U.S. Central Bank held rates yesterday, Wednesday, and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said that there will be no rush to cut them again until data showed a renewed decline in inflation or rising risks in the jobs market. I think we're warned about this since late last year, but markets still react to it. Well, a huge, I guess I can say that 17 Naira seems to be huge appreciation on one of the platforms trading the Naira at the close of trade yesterday. That's NAFEX. NAFEX rate saw notable appreciation, added 17 Naira, 77 kobo to settle at 1,516 Naira, 73 kobo. NFM opened on a bearish note. Remember the day before, we did not have closing numbers because of the FX code that the CBN has introduced. So that stalled and we couldn't get a lot of data. But at the close of trade yesterday, we saw trading of the Naira was between 1,500 and 1,510 on the official windows. Of course, we know for the parallel market, it went as low as 1,006 above that, but not up to 1,007. I didn't see that yesterday. Now, electronic payment transactions in Nigeria reached an all-time high of 1.07 quadrillion in Naira, and that happened in 2024, marking the first time the country has hit that mark. This is approximately $702.6 billion, and the value represents a 79.6% increase compared to 600 trillion Naira that was recorded in the preceding year, 2023. December 2024 saw the highest monthly total, with Nigerians spending 115.1 trillion through electronic channels, driven by festive season spending, and this marked the peak of a steady increase in e-payment transactions throughout the year. The volume of electronic transactions also grew, rising from 9.7 billion in 2023 to 11.2 billion in 2024. That indicates a 15.5% increase. So does it mean that Nigeria is getting more e-transactions? I guess that's a conversation for another day. An ongoing matter around the First Bank of Nigeria has an update. That was yesterday. First Bank of Nigeria shared its reaction to court's ruling, which set aside the ex parte order freezing the assets and accounts of General Hydrocarbons Limited, GHL in connection with a disputed $225.8 million loan. FBN says, contrary to reports circulating the media, that GHL and its directors are still under the shackles of court injunctions. They are saying that the bank is saying that it is important to stress that the injunction orders made by Justice Dikpeolu on December 30, 2024 were 8 in number, out of which only 2 of them were Mareva orders. The bank further says that other injunction orders, namely orders 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, were not discharged or set aside and remain valid and subsisting. For the avoidance of doubt, First Bank maintains that GHL and its directors are still restrained from dealing with or dissipating monies in their respective accounts and assets connected to the subject matter of the suit. So that's an ongoing matter right there, and First Bank thought it was important to clarify what's going on. Now let's go back to that event of yesterday in the United States, which we know is affecting markets all around the world. That's the decision of the Federal Reserve at the close of their 2-day meeting. That's the first one for the year. A whole decision is what we saw. That was expected, but let's see if the market is reacting. We have Dr. Ifeoma Nwokolo right here, manager with Financial Derivatives Company. Thank you so much, Dr. Ifeoma, for your time. Good morning.
Thank you for having me, Jenny. Good morning.
Yeah, so the world was expecting a whole decision. So has it made any difference? Have we seen the market move one way or the other?
Okay, the decision last night by Fed was a good one, even though the president was demanding for a cut in rates. So this decision alone shows that Fed is autonomous and independent, and it will further increase investors' confidence in one aspect, following the flurry of policy plans that the new administration came in with. So it's not to press the pause button was the right decision, because the tariff on its own will result to inflationary pressure, because you're going to see more demand on domestic commodities, and when you don't have enough supply, it leads to inflation.
So you're saying that this decision is in preparation for the tariff that the president has been threatening?
Aside the tariff, we have a lot of policies that could trigger inflation. We have the deportation. We are hearing the drum of deportation becoming louder and louder, and if this happens, it strains the supply, the labor market. So the supply of labor is low when demand is high, and when this happens, wages becomes high, and this is inflationary. So looking at all of this uncertainty, Fed, the only thing they would have done is to cut rates, is to hold rates, and this rate that they held has increased the value of dollar, as we see. And since the value of the dollar has increased, what happens to Naira? The value of Naira weakens.
So it's not very good for us.
It's not very good for us, because we import. I said the other time that we're an import-dependent country. So we import. So we need more Naira to import now. So it's a minus for us. And also when it comes to performing our international obligations, payment of debt, and all that becomes higher for us. It's not that the debt increased, but because
the value of the Naira is reducing, so that's
is a constraint for us.
But what's this doing to our commodity market? What's happening there, domestic and imported?
Okay, domestically we begin to see that prices of commodities are beginning to decline, or because of demand, low demand. Of course, you know that consumers are strained at this time. So a lot of people are beginning to be discretionary in their spending, and also seasonalities like crops like tomato, onions are beginning to decline because of seasonalities. Then another factor is that the inflation stocking factors, which include exchange rates, have become stable for quite some time. So this is going to impact imports, because importation price is stable. So the pass-through effect is also stable. That's what we saw.
But we have this threat from the U.S. We just talked about how the dollar is threatening, and that, of course,
that will be a reverse. in the medium to near term, we are likely going to see a reverse if we don't have enough supply to cushion this effect. So we saw this in December inflation numbers. You saw that the magnitude of change was very, very low. And we saw that food inflation actually declined. So these talking factors, oil price, let me say the price of PMS was somehow stable. So that was why we saw this decline. And with the rebasing of CPI, we are going to see inflation come down, even though that is technical.
Yeah, that's another matter.
Yeah, even though that is technical, and we know that MPC is meeting very soon. I know that
it is on the 17th.
Yes, on the 17th, 18th. Yeah. The rebasing numbers, they should be out. Any decision, it will be out before
it should be out tomorrow, yes, 31st. That's when we're promised.
It will be out tomorrow. It will not. I'll say the MPC will not make decisions based on those numbers because they are not reality. That's not what we see today. But I know that the MPC is actually going to hold rates to see.
So that's the projection of FDC.
Yes.
That there will be a hold.
There will be a hold.
Okay.
In order to see direction of the inflation, even after the rebasing of the basket.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised when I saw Canada cut, even with the threat of tariff. Because I think we saw Japan held also. Yes. So because of, we're waiting for President Trump. It's a Trump world we're living in now. Everybody's waiting for President Trump. And that also affects Nigeria.
When Americans sneeze, the whole world catch cold.
Wow. I wish we could change that very soon.
Hopefully.
All right, Dr. Ifeoma Nwokolo, Manager, Financial Derivatives Company, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me in.
Great. All right, now, the International Air Transport Association, that's IATA, they've released their global air cargo market performance, reviewing the year 2024, including a breakdown for December. The report highlights that global air cargo demand reached record growth of 11.3% year-on-year in the year 2024. For African airlines, cargo demand increased by 8.5% compared to the previous year, showing a rise in both people and goods being transported by air. However, in December, the region experienced a 0.9% drop in demand, the smallest increase among all regions.
With passenger demand up 13.2%. That's the second fastest growth globally. Capacity grew 9.9%, and load factor reached 74.9%, which is a record high. Cargo demand also surged in Africa, rising 8.5% year-on-year, with capacity up 13.6%. Now, globally, 2024 was a record-breaking year for air travel. Passenger demand grew 10.4%, outpacing capacity growth of 8.7% and pushing load factor to a new high of 83.5%. Global air cargo demand increased 11.3% year-on-year, surpassing 2021's record volumes, with capacity also up 7.4%.